So, Arsenal 3, the Germans, Bayern Munich 1. Finally, we have got a win against Bayern Munich. A strong Bayern Munich, current champions. Some tip them as the favourites to go all the way in this competition. Obviously, we have Kenny Ken. Make sure you follow Kenny Ken 1972 on Instagram. This is a football discussion show for entertainment and opinion only. Everything here is about sport. We do not involve politics, personal targeting, or hate. So let's talk about football. And Kenny, you were at the game. You're smiling like the Cheshire cat that got the cream. Yeah, Kenny, Mikel Arteta's best performance for me tonight as manager. I thought his subs were outstanding. Taking off our captain, Starboy, at 1-1. Yeah, within literally 90 seconds or 2 minutes or whatever, bang, we're winning the game. Manuel Neuer was probably the reason they were still in the game. And then he was the reason the game folded because he came running out crazy like headless chicken. At least it weren't our goalkeeper doing stupidness this week.
Well,
what did you make of it, Kenny? What was the stadium like, Kenny? Tell us.
You know what? I won't lie. It was flat. I think what's happened, it was after Lloyd, like after the Chelsea Flower show or the Low Mayor show. It was a case like, I think the mood of the fans was, majority of fans were saying, yeah, we've got to make some sort of like rotation because of the Chelsea game. Because I think that's the game. I think if you look at speak to a lot of the fans, what we really, really want, it seems to be like the majority just want the title. I think the scars of 23-24 and 22-23 are so deep. The Champions League is just, it's a nice bit of dessert. It's a nice ice on the cake, but it's the title they wanted. So you got the feeling like there wasn't this kind of feel. But as soon as we got in the game, Bayern Munich were passing it around, and then we got that goal, set piece again, LA. Neuer, when I looked at it, I just could see Timber just ghosted in, and as soon as he got his head to the ball, I knew it was going to go in the corner of the net. And then, Bayern Munich were on top. I thought that goal was fantastic for them. Elise was purring, and obviously, I thought Kimmich won a lot of people in midfield. A lot of people said Kane had a quiet game. In terms of like shots and goal, in terms of like, like I said, getting in behind the players, yes, he did. But what he was doing off the ball, coming into the midfield and creating space for his full, like for players like, Gnabry and Alicia, that was just first class. And his tactical plan is first class. A lot of people are not going to see that because, we live in an age where there's highlights and reels, and that's all people care about. And that's what they base their football opinions on. But first off, I thought they were in complete control, and they should have probably, if Stanilich passed, they could have been 2-1 up. But the second half, we just came out, we upped the tempo. I thought Declan Rice led the charge.
It was outstanding, man.
It was outstanding. Those corner routines where Neuer was at 6s and 7s, and then that shot where he just drove, tackle me, don't tackle me, and then he shoots. And then somehow we didn't score.
That bounced off Saka's side of his foot and bounced back to Kimmich, man. It was like, come on.
But if you want me to like be picky,
how unlucky, man.
Well, you want to be picky. I shake Mikel Arteta's hand because he put his nuts on the table. First and foremost, he knew Saka was like getting like I said, they had 2 or 3 players want him. So he wanted the direct play of Martinelli and direct play of Madueke. Hence, and guess what? Both of them scored. But the substitution for me was hooking Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Football. Kenny, how he played that long is crazy to me.
And not too funny, right? He was a nervous wreck. He got absolutely roasted by Cole, and Alicia and Cole were taking turns to roast him. I've been a massive critic of him. I said, look, you're not the reason why we are where we are in terms of like defensive solidity and the ability to turn a defence and attack is because I say it once, say it 1,000 times. We've got proper fullbacks. There's levels now between Calafiori's utility and Miles Lewis-Skelly, and there's levels between Benjamin White and Timber, and that's not criticism; it's just facts. Look at how we played. Look how solid we looked when Calafiori came on, and not only did we look solid because he was making runs to the midfield and proper runs, and he forced Elise back. That's how we got a goal.
Elise never got a touch after he came on.
Yeah, and then Eze as well. Eze found a bit of space when we made the substitutions. Eze again, he was involved in both the goals. Both the second goal where he started to pass the carry through, he puts a great cross. Madueke, I'm so glad he scored, and so was he. By the
First
way,
goal for the club as well.
First goal for the club, and so was he. He
To
looked
put
pretty
us in the lead.
Put us in the lead, and then the Martinelli lovers had a field day because he came on. And I felt bad for Madueke because the way some of our fans went on, it's like it was Martinelli who changed the game when it wasn't. It was actually substitutions. This fetish they have for Martinelli, glad he scored because that's what he does best. I said that Martinelli this season is probably going to be like a good player to come in the last 10 minutes. It's a shame for Yana Trossard because he was like getting in the. When as he started getting the game, he had an injury. I don't know what sort of injury it is. Maybe you'll be the one.
It looked like it was around his knee, but like he was holding like very low down behind his just above his knee, but behind.
Oh right,
but the camera it couldn't really see.
Well, I think what's happening as well is that it gives the opportunity to get Madueke in the team. I say it 1,000 times. It's unlucky on Martinelli, but Martinelli's had enough time to make
7 years, Kenny.
And it hasn't worked out. But I'm glad Martinelli scored because at the end of the day, that's his best position to come off the bench. But Madueke as well, going to the Chelsea game, you'll think Madueke playing on the left-hand side if Trossard doesn't make it, Saka plays on the right, and they kind of interchange. But
Sorry to cut over you, Kenny. Sorry. Do you know what made it for me? He subbed Saka, and he instantly moved Madueke to the right, and within 2 minutes, bang, goal.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He subbed Saka.
That bamboozled him a bit.
Yeah, but and that's the thing. But you know what Madueke does? Obviously, Saka's a better player. But one thing about Madueke is that they're different kind of right wingers. In that Madueke's direct. That's what you want sometimes. All right, it's not. Sometimes it's too direct. It's too, sometimes there's no light techers. There's no kind of, intricacy the way he plays. But sometimes you need defenders, left backs defending, and that's what he did really well. And I thought that, now he's fully fit. I was saying to my mate that when he did come on in, for Trossard, especially in that first, I said, look, there's an opportunity for him here. Yep. If he can add goals to his game, there's an opportunity where him and Trossard could fight for that left-hand side, and Martinelli could be the player that comes on when everyone's tired and get the goals. Because right now, you saw the pecking order. Martinelli Arteta seems happy with Martinelli, being that guy who finishes games off. But starting them, he looks like it's Trossard for now. But Madueke will get his chance. But I'll tell you one thing now. It's okay to believe because there's loads of tests this team has passed. The Atletico Madrid test they passed with flying colours, actually smashed them. The Bayern Munich tests they passed as well, where in the first half, they coped with not having the ball. They coped with Bayern Munich being a yard ahead of them. But the second half, they reacted, and that's what you want for this team is to react. People pride themselves on their defence, but what people don't realise is that the way we can up the tempo, go from quick, slow, is a perfect performance. I just don't want this to end because you know what? I don't want fatigue. I don't want, like I said, the odd defeat getting away because at the moment it's too good to be true. It's too good. But the thing is, right, you have to remember one thing, right, is if you go by last season as well, it's the ability to maintain his performance, maintain the results in the business end of the season when mentally you're under a lot of pressure. Mentally, you're tired. Physically, you're absolutely tired. But you've got to keep on going at will and just keep on going at will. Who knows if we're in a comfortable position in the second half of the season and it looks like we're out on our own. Who knows? Maybe we can concentrate this competition. But right now, the best thing we've done is that we've virtually secured qualification for the last 16. So next three games, is it? Bruges. I think there's a game against International Nale and the last game at home. You could rotate players because you think about it, coming into the second half of the season, there's a potential semi-final in the League Cup. There could be an FA Cup, third or fourth round. Well, it's going to be a third round, but it could be a fourth round. So you could set players. And we got that. What we have sometimes in the second half of the season? We have those kind of like tricky midweek games where out of nowhere We had
And that's where we got
midweek
Jokeris.
league.
Jokeris coming back. Odegaard, it was nice to see him back. Whether I rate him or not, it's nice to see him back.
It's definitely, and I think what's happened, you are going to
Ben White got minutes tonight as well.
Yeah,
Calafiori's purring.
But I hate to say it, and I was on Dan's show yesterday when I said, Mikel Merino's grown on me because, look, it's it looks good. It looks like there's not much pace coming from him. He's not going to play on the shoulder. He's not going to work defenders. But what he does is when he drops in, he creates a hell of a space. He's annoying, but he creates a hell of a lot of space. And I think as a team, and as an attacking team, we kind of look more polished with him. And it's not because he's better than Jokeris by any stretch of imagination. It's the brain's better. One thing in football is that you can have the pace, you can have the finishing, but the brain is the one that supersedes everything. That's why when you look at Trossard, you compare him to Martinelli, it's the brain that puts him over the line over Martinelli. When you think of Mikel Merino, he hasn't got any pace. That he fills in and he's a good sort of like auxiliary player, can come and do a job, but he's not. He's the sort of person who'll build you a wall, but he's not exactly going to be an architect. He will never be an architect. But one thing about him is that there's a brain there. There's a brain there in terms of football brain. That's why you can never discount his utility. And that's why I've got a lot of time for him. And let's face it, since Jokeris has come out, it hasn't really affected us, attacking wise.
Nothing else really.
Nothing.
Defense or attack.
Yeah, and the reason why is because everyone knows their jobs.
And everyone's fighting for their position.
Yeah, but you know what's happening? It's nice when you come into a team either from injury or you make your debut. It's nice to come into a winning environment. I always say, if you come into a winning environment, then what will happen is that you get eased in and you kind of imitate the quality around you. Now, you look at Liverpool now. Liverpool lost 4-1 today. But what's happened is that you've got new players coming into a toxic, losing environment. So they're having to feel the pressure of trying to create a winning formula. But the team around them is just dead and he's used to losing. Whilst the players that come like your Hincapes, Mascaras, and the players that come back from injury, they're coming into a winning environment. Hence the fact that nothing changes. The system's there, the mentality's there, the attention to detail, the obedience to the manager's instructions is all there. So it's an easy place to come into when you're winning games and you're winning them well.
Facts. Listen, get them safely, mate. Love you always. And you'll be at Stamford Bridge at the weekend.
Oh, I can't wait.
I can't wait either. They're mouthy Chelsea fans, mate. They can jog on. We're beating them easy.
Well, yeah, like I said, I'll wait. But yeah, the evidence suggests that every time you think, maybe this might be hard, we meet the challenge head on. And I hope we do that
safely,
Sunday.
Man. Love you always, Kenny. Appreciate it.
Love you too.
Take care.